253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here's your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
And a good Friday morning to all of you. Chilly outside, but warm in here. 50-50 results last night. If you're a Tiger fan, you're really, really happy. If you're a Grizz fan, you're somewhat happy, and I'll tell you exactly why you're somewhat happy. John Morant. He goes down, he's like not moving. When he gets up, he looks like he's a 90-year-old guy trying to move from one place to the other.
And non-contact.
That's the scariest thing, right? And, it isn't over yet either, because it's usually the next day that you're really, really sore. By the way, J-Mo, have you seen, I guess it was the mother of Ja's daughter, who has a video. If you haven't seen this, you got to look at it. It's Ja's little daughter. What is she, 2.5, 3 years old?
I think 2, something like that.
She can talk. And she's watching the video. She's watching the game. And it's the cutest little thing. She's just adorable. And she's standing and she's looking straight up because their TV is mounted on a wall, big TV. And she goes, "Daddy, okay." I mean, it's cuter than I just presented it. I promise you, it's really cool. If you can, it's on Twitter. I don't know how you'd Google that or how you'd look that up.
Yeah, you search it on Twitter. I mean,
what would you just Ja's daughter?
Yeah, John Morant, and then I'm sure one of the top videos, super liked video, would be that one.
It is so cute, you can't help but like it. But then the Grizzlies played just absolutely poor defense. And Taylor Jenkins said after the game, mental lapses, effort. He was disappointed. And he basically said, if we're going to really be this great team down the stretch, you can't play like that. They blew a big lead. They had a 15-point lead. They lose 119-114. D'Angelo Russell looked like Ja. He was unstoppable. In the fourth quarter, he got 23 of his 37. He had 9 assists, too. He was Ja last night. D'Angelo Russell's a good player.
Some of those makes were unbelievable, too. I mean, the Timberwolves are legitimately a really good – it's the parity in the league. I feel like we say this every day, but it's unbelievable how deep the league is in both conferences. It's unbelievable.
It is a testament, honestly, to how popular basketball has become, how players now play it at an incredibly young age. People from all walks of life. It's probably the most universal of all the sports because it's big everywhere. There are minor programs and pro programs in every country now. And the quality of play is amazing. And the influx of international players, because think about it, I believe it's 35 or more % of NBA players that are now internationals. When I was growing up, you had 2 players from the outside of the collegiate system that were introduced into the program. And now it's like 35 to 40%.
This from 2020, a quarter of all NBA players are international. So it probably just gone up since then as well.
So maybe it's 30%. I may have jumped the gun a little bit, but I thought I could have sworn it was 35. But anyway, bottom line is, you've gotten feeders from all over the world, and the level of play is so good that you can be a second-round pick and still become an outstanding player. Now, D'Angelo Russell, if I recall, was a first-round draft choice high up there.
Lottery pick.
Yeah. And who gave up on him?
The Lakers gave up on him first,
yeah,
and then the Nets gave up on him after that.
So
gave up on him. He was getting a little expensive.
Well, and the Nets traded him
right
to Minnesota, where with this nucleus of players and Karl Anthony Towns, who, by the way, had 22 and 11, they were outstanding. Triple Dre was outstanding last night. He had a double-double, 21 points, 11 rebounds. He continues to be one of the best shot blockers in the league with 3. Ja ends up 20 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. He did try to keep him in the game. in the fourth quarter when Russell was going crazy, and he did a decent job. They just gave away too many easy open looks. That did not look like the defensive team I've seen before. Crazy. And Zaire Williams, 21. That kid's getting better and better. He was rested. Every time there's a little break, he comes back. He plays really well for a few games. And then Brandon Clark, whose agent, Andy Schiffman, will be joining us at about 10:44 or so. He played well again, 10 points, 8 rebounds. He and Ja were the ones that were the best players in the fourth quarter.
Some big late buckets from Brandon Clark, too. He had a couple putbacks. Also, DeAnthony Melton. I could not get enough of DeAnthony Melton. He's my favorite player on the team. There isn't one aspect of the game of basketball that I don't think he does exceptionally well. I love DeAnthony Melton. Love that guy.
Say that again.
It's defense, on-ball defense, off-ball defense, with the basketball in his hand as a point guard, spot shooting. I mean, he does everything. I love DeAnthony Melton.
He does everything decently, but he's not consistent with it. That would be my only complaint about Melton at this particular point.
Certainly not scoring. That's true.
Yeah. And sometimes defense, and that was a problem. The Grizzlies gave up 16 threes last night. Good defensive teams like that don't give up 16 threes.
A lot of corner threes as well, which, to your point, a lot of good defensive teams, that's the shortest one. You don't give those up.
And then for a minute, they looked like the early Tigers. 15 turnovers and 11 missed free throws. 11 missed free throws on a pro team? Look at the Tigers last night.
Someone said...
See what the Tigers were from the free throw line last night?
They missed, 2, 3 free throws?
Memphis?
Yeah.
The Tigers you're talking about?
Yeah.
They missed 3. They were 25 of 28. So what is that? That is 89.3%. Let's round up to 90.
There you go. I saw someone tweet last night that it was tequila-flavored rust that the Grizzlies were fighting off after the All-Star break.
Oh, you know what? Give the guy a break. I've heard so many people sort of ripping Ja for that.
He had a good time.
First off,
first All-Star appearance.
It's 2 or 3 days before the game. This is a dream he's living out. He's flying in a private airplane, which he can afford. He's got his family and his friends with him. They're up in the air, and they're playing around, and they got all that money. I mean, to me...
That's fun.
It's fun. He's only going to be, 22?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he's only going to be that once in his life, and he's in this position, and he's sharing it with everybody. He's having a great time. Please don't rip him for that. That is absolutely nutso. But it was not good last night. They got another day off. They go to Chicago, and the Bulls were winners again last night. This kid, DeRozan, you know what he's done now? You remember the streak? You know what it is?
Is it 8 now?
It's 8. 8 straight games with 35 or more points at a 50% or better clip from the field. That is impressive as can be. And the Bulls are really, really in this thing. I mean, they have had an amazing turnaround. And you know something? Sometimes I think teams get rid of coaches who have been good for them, and then there's a little downturn. Of course, you lose Harden, Westbrook, Durant. You're going to have a downturn, right? That should be more on the GM than it should be on the coach. But Oak City couldn't get rid of Billy Donovan quick enough. They jettison him, and look what he's done in Chicago.
They might win the East.
Well, they're in position to.
They really are.
Just depends on now, it looks like Kyrie Irving is going to be allowed to play in New York or in Brooklyn. And the Nets, we'll see what they're like when Kevin Durant comes back and how they make up for the loss of Harden. That may be okay if Kyrie Irving's there all the time and Durant comes back healthy. We'll have to see. Philly's going to have something to say with that. How will Harden and Embiid play? All those discussions coming your way with our friend Andy Schiffman at about 10:45. Don't forget, we'll talk about the Tigers here in a second. And with Jason Munz, I'm sitting in the Family Leisure Studios. And, if you're looking for work, if you're looking for a new opportunity, maybe you're in a job that might pay you decently now, but you're really looking for something for the future. They got all kinds of opportunities for self-motivated, goal-oriented people to join the family leisure family. They have swimming pool, hot tub, patio furniture salespeople needs, chemical sales associates, parts and service department associate, service technician, got to have a driver's license for that, and cashiers. And they're also looking to add installation crews because they're going to start building above-ground pools. I mean, a lot of opportunity here for you with great people at Family Leisure, I-40 and Whidden Road. You can go see them or email them at memphis@familyleisure.com or call 371-9090. That's 901-371-9090. Family Leisure needs you. So the Tigers fall behind by 8 in the first half. By 8 after having a 5-point lead. By 8. They got foul trouble. They got Nolly on the bench with 2. They got Williams on the bench with 2. They got Quinones on the bench with 2. Usually 2 fouls first half, you're not coming back till the second half. Penny Hardaway sensed this is a critical moment. And he put those guys back in, and an ensuing run gave Memphis a 33-32 lead after the first. And momentum had swung, and I don't believe the Tigers ever gave up the lead. If they did, after that it was very short-lived to start the second half. And on they go, and they win the second half by 17, 45-32. So they win 78-64. The guys inside, here's the plan. No one can stop Duren. And your best overall player, when he's healthy and his head is right, is DeAndre Williams. Guess what? They didn't do that so much in Dallas. They did it this game. 41-15, the combination for the two, Duren and Williams. The most minutes I think that Duren has ever played is over 34 minutes. Malcolm Dandridge basically asked out of the lineup with sore knees before the game. That might be part of the reason why that rotation was shortened. But when I asked Penny about why he went basically with 6 guys in the second half, he said because we had to. He shortened the rotation because those are your best guys, and we needed them out on the floor, and they pulled away. And make no mistake, the net going into that game for Temple was 113. Now, that is not like USF. That is not like ECU. That is not like Tulane was when Memphis played Tulane with it back in the 200s where it kills you. But Memphis has no margin for error. The only one they may have is if they win Sunday against Wichita State, next Thursday at that worst team in the league, South Florida. And then they may have some grace in a close game at home with Houston because they already beat Houston at Houston. But you make no mistake, you cannot lose last night's game. You can't lose Sunday's game. You can't lose in Tampa. If you're going to be an at-large team, that is your bottom line. And at the half, that looked like it was in jeopardy. In the second half, it never did because he went with this core of the guys that won the NIT with Duren. And now add Harris as another guy who did nothing in the first half, ended up getting all of his points in the second half, as did Landers Nolley. And Landers Nolley is trying to gut through a knee injury. He has been in pain for much of this season. So you're 16-9 now. You've got a hold on third place, 10-5, and you're destined for another showdown with SMU in the tournament in Fort Worth. Have you learned your lesson? Did you take them for granted? 3 players have now said their problem in Dallas was they took SMU a little bit for granted, even though they'd already been beaten by them.
I guess you just beat Houston, so you look past.
Well, you just felt like you're on this incredible run, and they didn't play like they should. And now we know the secret recipe here. The secret recipe is get the ball inside to Duren and Williams. There isn't a matchup that I have seen that can stop Duren.
Certainly not with these teams that are so small. Like 6'8" or smaller. SMU 6'5" or smaller.
That's it. The tallest guy there is 6'5". Now I'll give them credit. You can be 6'5", have wingspan and hops, and you're not 6'5". okay? And Marcus Weathers, the kid that really hurt Memphis, he's hurt a lot of people. He doesn't look like he's 6'5". He plays like he's 6'8" or 6'9". But I'm just saying to you, there is no way that I have seen anybody in this league, and I've seen everybody except South Florida now. There's no matchup that can stop this Jalen Duren, because this Jalen Duren has learned footwork. This Jalen Duren has learned how to create space for himself inside. This Jalen Duren has developed about a 12 to 14-foot jump shot, either on a wing or at the elbow. This Jalen Duren is a top 5 draft choice. This Jalen Duren can't be matched up. If you get this Jalen Duren the ball, he's now recognizing he's got to move fast or they're going to double him. He's also learned that if they double him, here's DeAndre Williams, your best overall player. He's ready to get the ball and do something with it. Or there is Nolly, not too far, who's got a much better overall game than he used to. And, there's Lester Quinones, or Harris if he's in the game, that can shoot threes, or Nolly for that matter, who can shoot threes. That spacing, if they go converge, gives you a wide open look. And guess what? Wide open looks, all three of those guys can hit threes.
Yeah, I think you're making a great argument for why the ball should start there, because then you can just go from there.
Bingo.
Do you? So you think undoubtedly the Tigers are playing their best basketball of the season right now?
I think in this stretch, take away Dallas, yes.
Yeah.
In Dallas,
I'd
for
agree.
whatever reason, and they themselves say they reverted. They went back to selfish ways. They took the team for granted. But now they've won 7 of 8. In this stretch, minus Dallas, yes, they play like a team. They've defended very, very well. Last night, they took a team that is not a great offensive team, but they limited them to shooting 39.5%.
Which is excellent defense, which the Tigers have done a lot this year. But Temple was making some wild shots in the first half, and I think, like you said, defensive intensity just picked up in the second half.
The other thing is this remains a problem, and I mentioned it. There's no more missed free throws. This is the craziest thing.
What an improvement, though.
Memphis is the 9th best free throw shooting team in the league, and I think now they've had 3, maybe 4 games where they've shot in the 90 percentile or close to it like this, 89.3. I mean, 25 of 28. They hit those 22 in a row at Houston. I mean, it's crazy how they're just starting to click. Duren is a 57 or 58% free throw shooter. You know what he was last night? 8 of 9.
There you go. Getting better. They're up to, after last night, they're up to 7th in the league in free throw percentage at 68.2%, 0.2% higher than Houston. 0.3% higher than Temple. So they're moving up.
And Temple gets more attempts than anybody in the league. They got 22 last night, and Memphis got 28. It was. Here's the other thing I thought Penny did a really good job of adjusting to is the way they officiated that game. And it was not a great game for Terry Oglesby, Chuck Jones, and Bert Smith, because in the first half, they let you kill one another. I mean, even though Memphis got 2, Memphis gets these fouls. In my estimation, Penny says differently, it's because of the press. And so you get these quick fouls because of the press. But other than that, I mean, inside they were letting guys maul each other. And then in the second half, whoa, whistle every 10 seconds. If you touched a guy, if you breathe too hard on a guy, they were calling it. So they changed the way they called the game. I don't know if they were looking at video at the half, if the refs do that or not.
We can't have another 50-foul game. I don't know if that's what they said or not.
How many were there? There were 43.
43.
43 fouls in that game. Bottom line is they changed the way they officiated, and Penny was able to adjust to that and get his team, and nobody fouled out of the game. In fact, let me look really quick here. Lomax and Quinones both played with 4 fouls. They were the only ones close. 2 of the Owls, and one really good player, Nick Jourdain, he ended up playing 16 minutes because he was in foul trouble the whole game and fouled out. And they had another player, Damian Dunn, but that guy, he's a freshman or he's a redshirt freshman. He's a good player. He's become their leading scorer because Khalif battled their best player, who was leading the league in scoring at 21 points a game until he got hurt and had to have knee surgery. He's become their best player. He picked up 3 stupid fouls. It was like, I'm going to show the referees I'm mad at their calls, and got himself 3 more calls. I mean, it's crazy. So
that'll show him.
Yeah, That'll show him, and that'll. Aaron McKee was not very happy with his leading score, but that's a victory, and the Tigers had to have it. And I think we've learned some lessons here. Go inside, start everything with Duran and Williams, and you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Quit the turnovers, though. Of the 15 turnovers, what do you think? How many were forced?
Oh.
I would say they gave 10 unforced errors just away.
The amount of times they're swinging the ball along the perimeter and just mindlessly throw it to someone who's not there, then someone else has to go chase after them. It's wild how many times that happens.
Yeah, it drives me crazy, and good teams can't do that, and you got to stop doing that if you're going to really be a potent force down the way. I mean, I'm okay with 10 to 12 turnovers.
And the way they come is important, too, like you said.
I agree, and where they come.
Yeah.
You know? Sometimes you throw those passes to nobody and they get picked off at midcourt, and then that's an uncontested layup. That goes down as a fast break point against you, too. And that drives me crazy. Terrible. But anyway, much needed, and Tigers win by 14. It's time for us to give you the locks of the week. All right, J-Mo, we're going to go back and forth, right?
Okay.
And you got a 5.5 game lead on me?
Yeah, something like that. 4 or 5, yeah.
No, I think it's 5.5. You're too much. We get a new scoreboard when we start doing golf picks. Everything changes. Just so you know, new season begins.
I'm fiending for the golf picks. I got the Honda Classic on today. Daniel Berger, Memphis legend, in first place right now.
Daniel Berger already ahead of everybody. Okay. My first game is the only college game I'm doing. Iowa is giving away 12 at Nebraska. I don't know if you've seen this, but the Nebraska AD had to come out and say, we're not getting rid of Fred Hoiberg. Fred Hoiberg was a great college coach.
I think he's an excellent
He was not
coach.
a very good coach in Chicago with the Bulls. That was a mistake. He came back, and I thought he'd be great. You know what their record is this year?
I know what it is in their league. I don't know what their overall record is.
They're 7-20. They're 1-15 in the league.
1-15.
Wait. Gets worse. In the 3 years that Fred's been there, you know how many Big Ten games he's won?
3.
6.
Oh, geez.
They're 6-49.
I don't understand, honestly.
I'm going to tell you why they're going to be patient with Fred in Nebraska. Because his buyout is $18.5 million.
You got no choice but to be patient at that point.
So $18.5 million. In keeping him, Fred's redone his contract a little bit. I think he took a little pay cut, and the buyout next year is only $11 million. So I think the whole purpose there is financially, Nebraska didn't want to go any further in the hole. Nebraska is one of the schools, I think, that is a poster child for you should have stayed in the league you were in.
In the Big 12, yeah.
They had no real ties to the Big Ten. Since they've been in the Big Ten, they have never been a major entity. So I think Iowa, even with Hoiberg getting the nod, I think he's done for this year. This team is done for this year. It's a big number, 12, but Iowa's the 25th ranked team in the country, and they've got something to prove because they got – oh, no, they killed Michigan State the other day.
And Nebraska last Friday lost at home to Maryland. So Iowa's certainly better than Maryland.
Oh, Iowa's going to win and cover for sure.
I'm all Sun Belt basketball tonight, which is a great small league if you're looking for small league basketball. And this first game tonight is a legitimately good game. It's on ESPN2, Texas State at Troy. Texas State's in first place in the league. Troy's in second. Troy is getting 2 points plus 2 at home. I'm going to take Troy. Like I said, this is going to be a legitimately good game. I'm excited to watch this one.
All right. I'm going to go to the NBA. Philly. They're playing at Minnesota tonight. Minnesota is basking in the glory, but they played last night. Guess who didn't play last night?
The Sixers.
Philly. They're fresh legs. And guess what? D'Angelo Russell's not going to have that kind of game back-to-back. He's not John Morant, even though he looked like him last night. Give me Philly. I'll give you the 3 points.
I am going to take another Sun Belt game. Appalachian State going to Arkansas State. App State's in second in the league. Arkansas State's middle of the road. They haven't been playing great. So I'm going to Appalachian State plus 2 on the road going into Arkansas State. I think they win outright.
In Jonesboro.
In Jonesboro.
There. Okay. And then finally I got Phoenix. They're giving away 7.5 at home to New Orleans. The Pels are another one of those in turmoil franchises with Zion just sort of being disenfranchised. I don't think they get their act together until next year either. I'll take Phoenix even without Chris Paul. I know he's injured, but 7.5 at home is not too much for the Suns.
I don't disagree with that at all. They looked good last night as well. My last one's another Sun Belt game. Coastal Carolina, that's actually also middle of the road in the Sun Belt, is playing Little Rock, that's hamstrung by injuries. They're really going through it right now. It's the last regular season game of the year, so I'm going to take Coastal Carolina minus 7.5. A lot of points on the road at Little Rock.
Our title sponsor for this program is Homer Skelton Hyundai. They've raised the bar. That's the way car business should be done. They are getting some new automobiles there, right there. First exit in Mississippi, Craft Road off Highway 78. That's Lamar. And listen to this, because this is what Chris True wants everybody to know. There are some dealerships that are exploiting these circumstances. And because of the Russian-Ukrainian war now, things are even worse. If you buy a new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai, you'll never pay more than sticker price. Not every dealer's doing that. They're taking advantage of the times, not at Homer Skelton Hyundai. We pause for a second. When we come back, we talk Tigers with the commercial appeal beat writer Jason Munz. He comes your way in just a minute.
Former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn joins Brett Norsworthy for Sports Time on Sports 56, presented by Lexus of Memphis. Weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Mount Moriah Auto Sales. What sets them apart? Great selection, quality, high-end to low-end cars, and low mileage. Mount Moriah Auto Sales is under new management. Ask for Emmett or Steven. Check out their great selection of cars or trucks. Choose from Dodges, Jeeps, Fords, GMCs, Infinitis, Porsches, Range Rovers, Lexus, Mercedes, BMWs, even Bentleys. Mount Moriah Auto Sales also has a great service department with 12 bays for everything from oil changes to alignment to new tires. Go to MountMoriahAutoSales.com. Pick out your like new car or truck today. Mount Moriah Auto Sales, right on the corner and right on the price.
For years, I have talked to you about James Davis, the finest men's store in all of Memphis, the service, the selection, everything that goes with quality. And I've told you recently about the Stant Perfect Fit shirts. Well, now there's the Stant Perfect Fit pants. Absolutely amazing. Only 2 measurements fed into a computer, and all of a sudden, you've got the perfect fit pants. I'm talking everywhere. The leg, the seat, the bottom, all made to fit your body absolutely perfectly. And there's 80 different fabrics to choose from. You will find the right look, the right fit, almost instantaneously. They start at $162, but you will never find a better pair of pants than these at James Davis Men's Store. And the shirts are still there, and guess what? It's the only place in Memphis that you can find Stant. That's the James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. There are a lot of ways to ruin your roof. Probably none worse than ice and snow. Google the term ice dam, and you'll understand that standing snow and ice can destroy your home's interior. Call me, 867-0303. Damaged ceilings or interior? It's time to call Brian Elder Roofing, 867-0303. We're a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning, so we've been vetted and trained by the best. You've known the name for years. Call me before you call your insurance company. We won't try to sell you a new roof if you don't need one. We'll measure your roof from outer space. Call me, 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Hey, Jeff Allen, the Kia President's Day sales event is sure to make all your customers happy at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah.
We are ready to make you smile. Check it out. 2022 Kia Forte LXS, we got it covered at $199 per month. And a 2022 Kia Soul LX, $219 a month. Both $27.99 due at signing.
Plus 2022 Kia Sorento LX, $308 a month, $34.99 due at signing, and all 36-month leases. And they all come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia Mount Moriah.
Ask for Jeff Allen, Gossett Kia South, 2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com. All 36-month leases, $650 acquisition fee, $30,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage, Ford Day, Indy 456, 841, MSRP 21090, sold in 78, 23215, MSRP 21515, Sorrento, NG 104027, MSRP 31460. Includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, must finance through KMF, excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/28/22, dealer stock only.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Weekend's almost here. That means you got to go see my friend Eddie Connor. That's the Spirit Shop at the corner of Poplar and St. Nick, 4848 Poplar to be exact. Yeah, you got to restock up. Plenty of things to celebrate, we hope, this weekend, watching sports, whatever it may be. If you're looking for the bargain, they've got it. If you're looking for the rare, yeah, they've got it. Even those rare bourbons or the tequilas that you might love. If you'd like an education, you'll get that at the Spirit Shop as well. Yeah, weekend's almost here. Go see my friends at that little log cabin right down from Clark Tower. Poplar and St. Nick, you know it. It's the Spirit Shop. And this portion of the show is also brought to you by Shell Dunn. Shell Dunn Rosengart and Mark Spensdorf is looking forward to April when the college's best four teams will all meet up. If you want to meet the best agent in town when it comes to real estate, that's my man. They call him three-putt. They call him a lot of stuff on the golf course because he's not very good there. It's because he's always working 24/7 for you. He calls himself a real estate athlete because he gets into his stance, spins around to get those tricky inspections and appraisals all done, and then he can run the 100-yard closing table dash in 12 minutes. He's terrific. He makes his threes and his free throws. He gets all those details done perfectly. He says call 2 or 3 real estate agents. Make sure he's one of them. 483-0546. You want the job done, you call Shell Dunn. You can also see what he's talking about at memphisrelocate.com. Good morning now to our friend, the beat writer at the Commercial Appeal, Jason Munz of the Tigers. And Jason, did the Tigers figure out the secret sauce now? Are we going to see the rest of the year get it down low to Jalen and DeAndre?
I hope so. I think a lot of people hope so. Because that was a thing of beauty last night. I mean, even when things weren't working, even when like Temple was up 8 with like 7 minutes or so left in the first half, and things were really people's stomachs were starting to turn a little bit. When all else was failing, they were still able to get it to Jalen Duren. And, you know, even when they couldn't, even when he was either out of the game or they weren't finding him, DeAndre Williams was there to pick up the slack. And so, I mean, I think at this stage of the game, it is beyond obvious that those two are the foundation. That they are everything else, you know, like nothing else works as well without them playing well. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's the way I put it to somebody yesterday when they reached out. I got a text message during the game, no pun intended, during the game last night that said Jalen Duren is a man. Man is in all caps. And the way I responded was, well, it's make or break time. And you got to go with what you know, with the highest probability, the highest chance of success, and that's what Jalen Duren is. He gives you the best chance to score points on the offensive end, and so yeah, I think that's what we're going to see a lot of. The rest of the way.
He certainly does that now. I think people have to realize, you know, when you first come in, look at Derrick Rose, who ended up being Rookie of the Year and MVP in his second year. When he first came to Memphis, it took him a few games, half a season really, to become Derrick Rose. I think Jalen Duren's the same way. Jalen Duren in this stretch, 7 of the last 8 games that Memphis has won, he's looked like the guy that's going to be top 5 to 10 in the draft. That's going to be a lottery pick. He's learned how to find space down low for himself. He's learned footwork. He's not mastered, but certainly polished his 12 to 14-foot little jump shot in and around the paint. That, to me, comes with experience, and he's there now. So now you've got to exploit it.
Yeah, I mean, like, you mentioned Derrick Rose, and this probably isn't as good of an example as Derrick Rose, but look at Precious Achiuwa.
Sure.
His first, let's see, what I'm looking at it right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. His first 10 games, he had three of his first 10 games, he scored single digits. After that, in the 20 games after that, he scored in single digits just once, and it was 6 points. And so, I mean, it just takes time sometimes. And I mean, we're talking about Precious Achiuwa. He was like 19, 20 year old. He was like an older freshman.
Sure.
Jalen Duren is a much younger freshman.
He's legitimately just 18 years old. Yeah, the Precious thing, since you bring that up, those first few games, too, you have to remember the first 3 games, or 3 out of the 4 anyway, James Wiseman was in the game.
Yep.
So let's be honest. Precious Achiuwa was going to make the NBA because he's a really good player. He would not have made it that next year because he would never have gotten the playing time to get the numbers to attract all the scouts because those numbers were going to go to James Wiseman. Wiseman quitting was the greatest thing that ever happened to Precious Achiuwa.
Yeah, I think you're right. But no, it illustrates your point that, sometimes it takes a little while for a freshman to get in their rhythm and stuff. And I even asked Penny Hardaway on Wednesday about Jalen, because people were starting to there was starting to be some chatter about the number of minutes he was playing and just how winded he seems and stuff. After just a handful of minutes on the floor, and I asked Penny about his stamina, and he's like, look, he's a freshman. He's never played this much. He's never practiced this much for such a long stretch of time. He's never played against competition quite like night in and night out. And on top of it, he's going to class. He's doing all these other things. He's got NIL stuff that he's having to deal with now. And so it took him a little while, but now that it seems as though he has figured some things out. And he's a much more well-rounded guy. And one of the things that I was struck by last night during the game is while he's out there just going off, single-handedly almost keeping Memphis in the game, he was also sort of stepping up from a leadership standpoint. Like DeAndre was, picking up some early fouls and really looked like he was quite frustrated. And it was Jalen Duren who kind of patted him on the chest and was trying to look him right in the eye and say, look, we need you. We need you to calm down. We need you to stay in the fight. Don't lose your composure. I'm imagining these are some of the things that he's saying.
I think you're spot on. He is a mature kid, and he's a confident kid. I asked him, and I brought this back up with him on our post-game interview yesterday. I said, the thing I knew about you and your confidence level when I said, what do you does it ever intimidate you to be playing against 25, 26-year-old kids, 24-year-old kid? He goes, I don't care how old they are. He knows how good he is, and how strong he is. And there are very few 18-year-olds that are built like Duren. That is he hasn't really started like an NBA training weight thing. Because I don't think he did that in high school. He is going to be incredibly big when his career is in full bloom at the NBA level. But he has been outstanding. So I just looked this up. The net for the Tigers is now 44. So they improved a couple from last night. Wichita State, by the way, is 78. So that's a chance for them to move even better. They had to win last night. I think they got to win the next two, right? And then they got a little grace maybe with Houston because they've beaten them already in terms of an at-large chance in the NCAA.
That seems to be the general consensus. Yeah, you can't lose to Wichita State. You certainly cannot lose to USF. Houston, if you win that game, you are certainly in a much more advantageous position, much more desirable position going into the conference tournament. You can breathe a little bit easier, going into the conference tournament. That doesn't mean you can go into the conference tournament and lose in the quarterfinal round to, say, a Cincinnati or a UCF. That's certainly, based on the conversations I've had recently with some of the bracketologists, that is not what just because even if you beat Houston on that last day of the year, you don't want a clunker going into Selection Sunday. So, but yeah, if you beat Wichita State and you beat USF, you don't necessarily have to beat Houston if, say, for example, you can get to the semifinals, you win your quarterfinal game, you get to the semifinals, and you're playing either Houston or SMU there. And a win there could help you, make up for the potential loss to Houston here at FedEx Forum. But yeah, no, I mean the point is that you don't have to win out to possibly get an at-large. Although it would help, it would certainly go a long way.
Another quad one win would go a long, long way. And frankly, I don't think Wichita State can get that thing above 78. If they could get it to 75, you get another quad W out of Wichita State for the win on the road. All right, last thing for you, and it seems like we can't go a week without talking about Amani Bates, but you had video of him in warm-ups, and I've asked Penny in the pregame show what his status is, and he said it's all still day to day. So who knows? What do you think?
I'm still skeptical that he. I just don't think that he's going to be back on the floor for Memphis in any meaningful situation. I would say this. I don't think he will play for Memphis again this season. But if he does, it wouldn't surprise me. Just because I've learned with pretty much anything. With this program, related to this program, everything's possible.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's kind of part of the fun and part of the agony of the whole thing. Last thing for me on this, very quickly, if he's going to play, he probably needs to play by Sunday. And I say it this way because you got to find a role for him, right? You got to invent him into the rotation in some way, which is probably like a Harris role, more catch and shoot, not as much dribbling and backup point as Harris, but you could get him some minutes that way. But if you're going to put him back into the lineup, you got to do it before you get to the most meaningful games in the tournament. And so this is like do or die. My sense would be if he doesn't play Sunday, then that's it for the year.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I asked Penny afterward, after the win over Temple last night, about Amani, because I said, I saw him out there kind of going through some drills and ramping it up to maybe 80-90%, getting a good sweat going. And he's like, well, yes, he's doing more, but 1-on-0 is a whole lot different than 1-on-1. A full team drill. Like he's not even at that point yet, and so it just sounds like, he's not. That his timeline is just too long. Of course, again, Penny has said. He said earlier this week that this season has been, quote, adventurous. So, nothing would surprise me, but at the same time, I get the sense that it's just the circumstances are not right to bring him back into the fold just yet.
He's Jason Munz, the beat writer of the Tigers in the Commercial Appeal. You can read him every day. Thank you, Jason. I'll see you Sunday. We'll talk again next Friday.
All right, thanks.
That is Jason Munz. He's brought to you by the good folks at Conway. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and, of course, tankless water heaters. And I think the best thing, the 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up Still. You've got time to get the winter one. It's cold. But the best part about that is the safety inspection you get where they take this camera into your system looking for leaks and then do a carbon monoxide test. And the thing about you can join the Comfort Club like I do, that you kind of pay up front, you get a good deal, and you get 2 tune-ups per year. But the best part is you become more efficient, so your MLGW bill goes down. The other part that I love is the fact that your system's going to last longer because you always have it in tune. All you got to do is call 384-3511. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric. We end the week talking NBA with our agent in Chicago, Andy Schiffman. He comes your way in just a minute.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Hi, I'm Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. Can anyone explain to me why anyone would care how I measure your roof? We've all heard about measuring your roof from outer space. Well, to be honest, that's not possible. There are aerial pictures that can be taken every 4 years that can be used to measure most buildings, but it's not from outer space. Besides, no one, and I mean no one, can tell you what's wrong with your roof or even if you need one looking at pictures that could be 4 years old. If you'd rather do business with a family-owned and operated business with a lifelong tie to Memphis that refuses to mislead or use gimmicks, give us a call. Best products, best warranties, and the best service we know how to give. Fiveash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Memphis Tigers home team. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
So here's what car buyers are facing right now. Most dealerships have little to choose from or maybe some selection, but nothing to get excited about. Not at Auto Universe Germantown. I'm looking at beautiful top-of-the-line late-model cars and SUVs right here on Winchester off 385. Auto Universe Germantown has more luxury vehicles than I've seen in one place in a long time. Lexus, Infiniti, Audi, Jeep. Looks like every brand. How about Mercedes, Nissan, Honda, Chevy, Toyota? Affordable luxury. No haggle pricing. Come on by. Ask for Zach. He'll take care of you. There's no wait time for service appointments either right here at Auto Universe Germantown. Call Robert at 901-751-7300 and get in now. Brakes, transmission, tire rotation, battery checks. Top technicians for all makes and models. Even collision repair. Everything you want in one place. 7300 Winchester, just off 385. You're going to love Auto Universe Germantown. Ask for Zach and tell him you heard about him on Sports 56. Finest pre-owned luxury vehicles made affordable. That's eautouniverse.com.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again, it's the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
To Chicago we go. Our friend from Priority Sports, our agent Andy Schiffman, joins us now. We have come, Andy, to the final quarter poll of the NBA regular season. Give me your favorite 2 or 3 storylines as we get set for postseason.
Well, I think obviously, first off, good to talk with you, Dave, as always.
Yeah.
I think the Grizzlies and what they're going to do, me personally being a Memphian, is going to keep me glued to the TV every time they're playing, not only because I've got a number of clients on the team, but they're exciting to watch. Obviously, last night was a tough one in Minnesota. Minnesota is a good team. Luckily, I think the Grizzlies should walk away being very relieved the jaw was okay after that one play.
No doubt.
So
And your guy, Brandon Clark, was terrific last night, we should point out.
He continues to be terrific. Really, over the last month and a half to 2 months of the season, last night he had 10 points and 8 rebounds off the bench. Just so efficient, and it's great to see him be so consistent as well for them as a crucial piece off the bench. So, I think the Grizzlies and how they're going to finish this second half of the year, another quote-unquote hometown team for me to watch is Chicago. I was actually at the game last night against Atlanta. They held on. DeMar DeRozan in particular.
Yeah.
No one really thinks of him as an elite-level player when you're talking about MVP candidates and all-stars, but what he's doing, this streak of 35 points or more, 50% shooting, it is unbelievable, and the Bulls are winning. And so I absolutely would put him in the MVP conversation along with the Steph Curry or Joel Embiid. And honestly, DeRozan might be at the top of my list.
So since you brought that up, because we talked about it a little bit earlier, and I think you're right on. I mean, the Bulls have a chance to win the East. They come from out of nowhere. He's the big star in the acquisition they made. My question for you is, we all know 35 points, 8 straight games or better. That's pretty impressive in its own right. But the other caveat to that is shooting 50% or more. So that means you're efficient. But how important is that combination?
Oh, it's extremely important because it's one thing to go out there. Here's what you see a lot, Dave. You see players put up big numbers on a high volume of shots, oftentimes on non-winning, non-playoff level teams. And so that optically is recognized around the league. People realize, again, the impact you have on winning. And there's a lot of players that carved out a nice role for themselves in this league and a nice career because they're efficient. They may not be scoring a ton, but they're efficient. They're shooting a really high percentage. But what he's doing really is incredible. He's not a 6'10" big man where everything he's scoring is around the basket, so you expect the percentages to be high.
Right.
He is a wing. He's doing it on a winning team, much less a relatively older wing in this league. I don't know exactly how old he is, and was drafted 2009. I mean, for him to have a career year after being in the league for 12, 13 years now, much less on an actual winning team. When you think about where the Bulls were just 2-3 seasons ago,
awful.
Really 2 seasons ago before they made this deal with Orlando and brought in a whole new front office and Billy Donovan as the coach, it is pretty remarkable to see. And I think just like Memphis, you make these moves, you hire certain people, you expect, okay, in the next 3 to 4 years, we're going to build something and hope to be where the Grizzlies are right now. The Bulls are doing it really in year 2 after getting DeRozan, after trading for Vucevic, after bringing in Billy Donovan, the whole new front office, and it's been exciting to watch.
I think you mentioned Billy Donovan. I talked about him earlier. We talk about Taylor Jenkins and J.B. Bickerstaff, and they should be in the conversation for Coach of the Year. We got to put Billy Donovan in there, especially if the Bulls win the East. And I mentioned it in the perspective of be careful what you ask for, because OK City couldn't wait to get rid of Billy Donovan after all he had done, and he lost all that talent. And sure enough, they get rid of him. Look where they are. Look where he is.
No, absolutely. It's been fun to watch. I think he's a great coach. I think he's great for the city. The fans rally behind the Bulls now. It's fun to have a winning basketball team in Chicago, which I have not been here for that probably in the last 8 or 9 years since I moved here 10 years ago.
You know, it just dawned on me, Billy Donovan could become the second coach in history behind only Larry Brown to win both the NCAA and the NBA.
Yep.
I don't think the Bulls are going to win the NBA championship this year, but if they win the East, you got to start considering a couple of acquisitions here and there, and maybe Donovan gets them to the promised land.
No, absolutely. You never know what could happen with an injury to Embiid or the question marks surrounding a team like Brooklyn. I think Milwaukee's still going to be one of the biggest competitors out there, contenders. The other team, too, Dave, you got to watch out for. This is the last part I was going to say. I think is very interesting, and no one's really talking about them, Boston, because they're 6th place in the East right now. But they've won. I think they won something like 12 out of their last, or maybe 8 of their last 12 games. They destroyed Brooklyn in Brooklyn last night. And they are a team to reckon with, I think, the second half of the season. Jason Tatum plays at an absolute elite level, showing why he's an all-star. So I think they're someone to watch. And it's funny because Kyrie came out and said, just wait and see how some of these teams come out after the break, namely talking about themselves, trying to show the world that be scared of Brooklyn, and they just got their lunch handed to them last night at home against the Celtics.
And that's without Marcus Smart, right? He's about to come back.
Yeah, I think he should. Actually, he did play last night.
Oh, he did play last night?
Have a full Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, but they're a dangerous team, and I could see them making a nice little run. So it'll be interesting to see. Remember this conversation now here, February 25th, to see in a couple months towards the end of the season, really a month and a half, who are the top 4 teams in the East. Because right now we're talking about Chicago, Miami, Philadelphia, and Milwaukee. And Cleveland is right there. Boston is still right there. Toronto is even right there. It's really a tight race. So to me, it'll be really interesting to take this snapshot a month and a half from now to see who finishes with home court advantage in the Eastern Conference.
I can't wait to see it. We talked about this earlier, a discussion, Andy, for next week. The parity in the NBA and how much elite talent, because of the world feeding it, how much elite talent there is in the uppermost professional basketball league. Thank you, my friend. Have a great weekend, and we'll do this again next Friday.
Sounds good. You too, Dave. Thanks.
You got it. That is Andy Schiffman with Priority Sports in Chicago. This final portion brought to you by Old Dominick. Yeah, that is the Memphis Distillery, and I mean the Memphis Distillery. This is where you will find a portfolio of spirits made right here, including some very valuable bourbon that is about to be released by master distiller Alex Castle. You want to learn about how you distill spirits? They got a journey, a sensory journey that is a tour of the facility. It ends with a tasting. It begins with a history lesson of old Domenico Canali. But here's the cool part. You will learn the art of distilling from grain to glass, and then you get to check it out. And by the way, they got this really cool bar right there in the distillery at 305 South Front Street. They are your hometown partners when it comes to spirits. They love the Memphis Tigers, and if you want to learn more about the tours or the bar, go to olddominick.com. That'll do it for us. We thank Jason Munz and Andy Schiffman. Johnny Radio comes your way next. Have a great weekend, folks.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis.